Jake here for American Trucks, and today I'm taking a look at these LED daytime running light halogen headlights with black housings and clear lenses fitting 2018 to 2020 F-150s with the factory halogen headlights. If you're looking for a way to inject your F-150 with an extra dose of modern style, these are a great way to make that happen. They keep things pretty close to the factory looks with a little added something to take your build to the next level, all without having you spend a fortune. It's easy to go a little overboard when it comes to aftermarket headlights. There's all kinds of crazy projectors and LEDs, and if those just aren't your style, but you still want something that's a little bit different, you're probably gonna like these. They keep a pretty similar style to your factory lights with a couple of key differences. First, of course, you've got the black internal housings. These are gonna give you a bit more of an aggressive look than your standard lights, makes the truck a bit more menacing. But the bigger story here are these large LED strips that go around the edges of the lights. Now they look pretty slick when the lights are off, as you can tell right here on the table, but they look even better once you've switched the truck on. So they're gonna give off this cool white glow. It looks like something that could have come from the factory. Now the top section of this light bar here is gonna function as part of your turn signal, giving off an even brighter light than your factory ones. Now you also, of course, have the amber signals inside too, right in this center portion, so you're gonna have a little bit of extra on there too. It's a subtle difference, but one that will definitely be noticed. Otherwise, these are gonna function just like your standard halogen headlights. And they're gonna use the same type of factory bulbs, which are actually included in here too. As you saw, you get that center one for the amber marker light too, and you've got your high and low beam H7 bulbs also included. So if your current lights happen to be cracked, crazed, yellowed, or just frankly not as nice as they once were, it's gonna give you a nice improvement in lighting output too, because they're also going through these brand new lenses. This is also a great time to think about maybe some upgraded bulbs since you're gonna be in here anyway, and even though these do come with bulbs, you could get something a little bit nicer, a little bit brighter in there just to make these that much more of an improvement. And we have a bunch of choices on our site, so maybe take a look at those while you're shopping too. Now construction here is your standard ABS plastic for the housings with your polycarbonate lenses. Now of course they're sealed to keep out dirt and moisture as well, so they should function and look good for a long time. Now the LEDs in the light bar are going to be nice and bright too, and since LEDs have a near infinite lifespan in most cases, they should stay that way for a while. And of course, as we were talking about earlier, you've got the bulbs already included here for your high and low beams, right there, and your incandescent bulbs too for your marker lights in the center. That means that these replacements are easy and affordable when the time does come, and it also keeps the running costs low for you. When it comes to the initial cost, the set here, as you see them, is gonna run about $575. Now, it does make them one of the more affordable options out there for this generation of truck. And though they don't have all the fancy features like full LEDs for your main and high beams, they also don't carry the cost of a full LED setup. And they are gonna still provide you with a really good refresh for the front end of your truck too, so if you like the look and don't wanna spend a whole heck of a lot of money, these are gonna be a great choice for you. Installation is going to get a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and this should only take you about an hour to complete. Now you are of course going to have to pull off your grill to gain access for the lights, but otherwise everything is pretty much set and ready to go for you. So these are all plug and play. You've got your harnesses all set and ready here. The only thing you are going to have to do is utilize this included fuse tap and this wiring harness that's already complete to get those daytime running lights functioning for the LEDs. But that's it. Again, everything is ready. You just got to pull a fuse and plug this guy right back in its place, and we've got instructions for that included. And in fact, why don't we head out to the install bay now and we'll show you exactly what you've got to do.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, a clip remover tool, some zip ties, needle nose pliers, scissors or diagonal cutters, an extension, a 7, 8, 10, and 13 millimeter socket.
What's up guys? Today we're installing a set of headlights on our F-150, so let's get started. So our first step is to pop our upper radiator cover off so that we can remove our grill. We have a bunch of push clips up top that we'll use a clip remover tool to remove. So now we'll grab that clip tool and pop these out. So now we can lift up on our radiator trim and remove it. And then that exposes these 4 10mm bolts at the top of our grill that we can take a 10mm socket to remove. So now we can come to the top center of our grill to remove our connectors. Now usually there's a push clip right here, however ours is broken off. So we'll just push in the tabs on our connectors to remove them. We'll just lay that out of the way. Next, we need to remove this lower trim piece that goes underneath of our headlights. So in the wheel wells on both sides, we have 2 7mm bolts. So we'll take a 7mm socket to remove these. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So now we can pop off our lower trim piece. So we'll come to our wheel wells and just pull back on that to pop it out of the clip. And then we can pop that out on the other side. And then with both sides popped out, we should be able to just wiggle this free. So now right on the corner of the bottom of our grill, we have a bolt on each side. They're gonna be 13mm. So we'll take a 13mm socket to remove them. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. So now with all of our bolts removed, we can pull straight back on the grill to remove it. So now that we have our factory headlights removed, first thing we're gonna do is install our fuse tap into our fuse box. So we're gonna be pulling out one of our fuses. We have 2 new fuses in our fuse tap, so we won't need to reuse that old one, and we'll just put this right in its place. So now we can press in on these 2 plastic tabs to remove our fuse box cover. They're in 2 pieces, so the innermost one's gonna come out first, and then our outer one. We're gonna be looking for this 10-amp fuse right here. So we'll grab a pair of needle nose pliers to pull that out. And then like I said, we already have 2 new fuses, so you won't have to replace that one. We'll just put that right in the spot where it came out of. And then we can run our wire out. And we'll reinstall our 2 covers. Next, we can connect our main wiring harness to our fuse tap. So we'll just push that in until it clicks. And then we can run our 2 wires towards our 2 headlight buckets. So now on our harness, we have a shorter and a longer wire. The shorter one's gonna go towards the passenger side headlight bucket, and the longer one's gonna go across to the driver's side. So we're gonna go right under here and into our headlight bucket. And then we're gonna run this one straight across here. Tuck it under our intake tube. So now we can pull this across and just add a zip tie here just to keep it out of the way of everything. Then we'll take a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters to cut off that excess. And then we can just grab our other end and put that down into our headlight bucket. So now we can make the electrical connections for our new headlight. Now all of these connectors are different, so you can't switch them up. And then we can tuck our wires back into our headlight bucket and get our headlight into place. So now we can reinstall our push clip and our 2 bolts up top. Then we can grab our 10mm socket to tighten down our 2 bolts. And next we can come to the bottom and reinstall the rest of our bolts. And then we can take a 10mm socket to tighten down our first 2 bolts. And then we'll switch to our 8mm socket for our last bolt. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. Next we can line up our grill and push it back into place, and then start installing our bolts that hold it into place. Next we can come to the bottom corners of our grill and reinstall our bolts. And we'll tighten that down with our 13mm socket. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. Next we can reinstall our lower trim piece. So we'll get that lined up, and then we can clip it into our sides. Next we can reinstall our 2 screws in our wheel well. And then we'll take our 7mm socket to tighten those down. And then we'll do that same thing on the other side. Next we can come back up to the top of our grill and reinstall our 4 10mm bolts. And then we'll tighten those down with our 10mm socket. Next we can reconnect our electrical connectors. And now lastly, we can reinstall our radiator cover. And then we can reinstall all of our push clips. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the LED DRL halogen lights with black housing and clear lens for your 2018 to 2020 F-150 with factory halogen headlights. Thank you for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.